Hello, everybody. In today's video, I want to talk to you about the second major assignment in this course, the profile essay. So let's go ahead and look at the handout. All right, so the purpose of this assignment is to present a subject matter for a specific audience and purpose. So the specific audience will be me and your peers, and the purpose will be to inform your readers about someone or something. So this assignment will lead you to identify main ideas, supporting evidence, and conclusions. It also provides practice in form, organization, syntax, diction, style, and tone, while reinforcing that writing is a process requiring substantive revision. Now, writing a profile essay will enhance your observational skills, which you will need at some point in your career. You might be asked to describe something about a place or a person or concept related to your work. Skills of observation and organization used in profile writing will inform the effectiveness of your presentation. So let's think about what you're specifically being asked to do. In this assignment, you're going to profile or highlight an intriguing person or place in your community. You're going to observe that subject closely and then present what you have learned in a way that both informs and intrigues the reader. You are going to use evidence from your own observations and write a descriptive essay that proves a specific insight about a person or place for a general reader unfamiliar with the topic. Now, the one caveat is that you must interact with this person, place, group, or event personally during the time of the assignment. So let's talk about what this means a little more specifically. So for this assignment, you are going to choose maybe a person, a place, an organization, an event, whatever. It's something that's very specific that you are going to introduce to your readers, which is me and your peers and your OWL instructor, Christy Lynn. So one choice that I could make would be 826 Michigan, a nonprofit that I volunteer for. So I might spend some time, I've already volunteered for this, so it's a lot easier for me, but I would spend some time getting to know the organization. What do they do? What information do they provide? What services do they provide? And I'm going to use that information and kind of introduce the reader to the organization, but also kind of tell them a story about it. So I might talk about, like, I walked in and it is like a robot shop. They have books on one side and t-shirts, but they also have tons of trinkets and robot posters and all sorts of fun things. So what does it feel like to walk into this place? And then I might turn around and say, however, this is not just a normal shop. There's a curtain that you pull back, and in the back is where the nonprofit 826 lives. Okay, so I'm going to help the reader feel like they're there and living in the moment, but I'm also going to give them key details about the person, place, event, thing, idea, whatever. Okay, so this is going to make a lot more sense as we look at profile essays and talk more about it. Okay, now let's move back to the assignment sheet. Okay, so some important dates to keep in mind are February 14th, apologies, the day on which your first rough draft is due. You will submit a draft to this class and the OWL on that day, but not to peer review. You will then submit a revised rough draft using the feedback from your OWL instructor to submit again to the English class, but you will also at that point submit to peer review, where you will get additional feedback for this assignment. Your final draft is then due the last day of February this year, Sunday, February 28th. Now let's think about how you are going to be graded for this assignment. Just like the remembered event essay, you will be graded based on content development, detail, description and tone, organization, and professionalism, with the points spread out the same way. The only difference is that you're going to have a little bit different of content development, and you're going to be graded a little more strictly based on your organization. So let's think about what you actually need for content development. This essay will have a stated focus, so you have to specifically tell me who or what it is that you are profiling. And you are going to spotlight a single person, place, group, or event. So I don't want you saying, like, I'm going to talk about the Pope and Michael Jackson. You're going to choose one person, place, thing, or event. Also, you should not choose either the Pope or Michael Jackson because you don't know them. You aren't going to interview them, certainly not Michael Jackson, during the time of this event. So once you have decided on your person, place, group, event thing, you're going to make a clear point about it. So you might say, 826 Michigan is making a great change in the lives of youth across the country, but specifically in Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, Washtenaw County area because of the writing and tutoring services they provide for free. Okay, so one, I'm saying, here is my place. Here is what I think they're providing a great service, and here's why. Okay, so once you make your clear point, you are going to tell a story in a way with all your details relating to the focus and really making it clear what I mean. So if I say that 826 Michigan provides a great service, I need to explain to my reader what services did they provide and how did I come to the idea that they provide a great service. Okay, so I'm going to let the reader come to that conclusion for themselves, even though I tell them that that's my opinion. All your details should relate to the central focus and be appropriate for the audience. And I should not have any lingering questions where I'm like, I feel like you left something out. Next is your detailed description and tone, which is very similar to the remembered event essay, that the reader should be able to close their eyes and imagine that they are in the story, in the place, they are talking to whomever. Okay, so you want to use really vivid descriptive language. Next is organization, which I said you're going to be graded a little more strictly on this time because you are not telling a narrative story. It is not something that you can shift around as much. In this, you should have a clear intro, a body, and a conclusion. You will also be asked to have a thesis statement, which we will talk about through this unit. As with the remembered event essay, you'll also use transitions and make sure that everything flows smoothly. Lastly are your grammar goals and format, which are very similar, almost identical to the remembered event essay. So now that you've received this assignment, next step is how are you going to get from here unto completion? Well, the first thing is to select a topic. You need to know what in the world you are going to write about. So here are some things that other people have talked about in the past. So a person with an unusual hobby or a job, such as a professional photographer or a mortician, maybe a coach or teacher on campus that you feel connected to or inspires you, a person working in your field of study. So if you are a project manager, maybe talking to a project manager and finding out what their job is like. Could be someone who works at a martial arts studio or just the studio itself. Like, what is it like to take classes there? Maybe a juvenile court or a theater box office, a department in a company in which you'd like to work, a citizens volunteer program, and the list goes on and on. Okay, and I'm going to provide more examples and essays that people have talked about in the past. I understand during COVID, it's a little harder to find people and reach out. So a lot of people have talked about their romantic partner or someone in their family, or even a pet, or something that they do regularly. So if you go to the gym, maybe a trainer, or even just telling people what it's like to be in your gym class. Okay, so you're going to introduce the reader to something, and it can be something you're already familiar with or something that you are learning about for the first time. So once you've chosen your topic, then you're going to brainstorm. And part of this brainstorming process is thinking about what information do you already know, what information do you need to find out, and what information do you want to tell the reader. So once you've thought about this, you are going to observe your topic. So observe a person, see what it's like. If you go to a gym, to kind of sit and watch. If you're interviewing a person, maybe you talk to them and ask them questions and see what they have to think and what information they'd like shared about them. Then once you have all this information, you're going to see how it works together, where you can think, what is the main point? the one single point that I want to get across? Is it that if I'm talking about my dog, that although he was really shy when he first got him, he's a real goofball now. So then through my essay, I'll talk about how shy he was and I'll really paint a picture of that. And then I'll talk about how goofy he is now. So we'll see that transition. And that would be the one point I make, that he was, through like our companionship, he has gone from being shy to being goofy. Okay. And everything in my essay will build on that idea. So once you have all your evidence, you're going to bring it together and say, what is one thing that I want my reader to know? And then you're going to take all your evidence and see, how can I write this out? The next thing is thinking, once you have your focus point, to write a clear thesis statement, which is going to organize your essay and really work as the backbone. So one example could be, after watching how carefully my yoga instructor does poses and listening to her instructions, I see that she believes yoga not only helps people physically, but also helps people live in a psychologically compassionate way. Okay, so based on this one sentence, I can tell what this person's essay is going to be about. I know the main subject is going to be the yoga instructor. I know that we're going to talk a little bit about doing poses and listening. We're going to talk about the yoga instructor's beliefs about how yoga helps people physically, but also how yoga helps people live in a psychologically compassionate way. Okay, so they've come up with, because I've done this, this is what I've learned. And there's lots of different ways to structure this, but based on your thesis statement, you know exactly what this person is going to talk about in their essay. Next, once you've created your thesis statement, which can obviously change as you write, sometimes you get an idea at the beginning and as you're writing it changes, that's totally fine. But it's good to start out with a thesis statement just so you have kind of a guiding light saying, I want to get there and I'm going to work through my essay to get there. And if my destination changes, that's fine. I'll rewrite my map. Okay. So once you have your thesis statement, you'll start with your rhetorical structure. And you can start wherever you want, as I've talked about before. But for this essay, you will need an intro paragraph, topic sentences, lots of body paragraphs with sensory details to support your ideas, and a conclusion. Once you've gotten your crappy first draft done, then you can work on revising and revising and revising until you have the essay that you want, and then finally editing. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. The profile essay is always one that is a little confusing at first because it's not a type of writing that most people do, and we're kind of unfamiliar with it, but it also ends up being really fun and enjoyable and helps us learn more about the people in the world around us. Please let me know if you have any questions about this assignment. I'm happy to get back to you. Okay, thank you. Bye.